according to a report by African Peer Review Mechanism, APRM. Now, the review that was conducted between 2016 and 2017, following a directive by President Uhuru Kenyatta, shows that counties are dominated by major local ethnic groups. Now, speaking during the release of the report, stakeholders in Murang'a, APRM Director of Governance Peter Kimemia stated that the need to have workers from other ethnic groups being employed in counties is to promote national unity and cohesion. Now, the director further noted that the country still has a lot of work to do in its diversity management, as tribalism appears to have become a bigger problem in the advent of devolution. We'll be bringing you that story in just a moment. Let's look at other stories that we have for you today. Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta will soon tour Konza Technopolis City in Malili, Makueni County to inspect its work's progress 8 years after the groundbreaking ceremony by former President Mwai Kibaki. Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka has revealed that. Now, speaking while touring the facility in the company of a host of leaders and the management led by the CEO, Engineer John Tanui, and Chairman Dr. Ruben Mutiso, Kalonzo said that post-COVID-19 strategy must be massive job creation for Kenyans who have been jobless and those who lost their livelihoods through the pandemic.
Communities also can own it. I want to assure people in this country the number of jobs that will be generated out of Konza in the next 10 to 15 years will be colossal. This is the future. You ask us to have faith. The problem is faithless people. Right? Now we have faith. We believe in Konza City. I want to tell this later. How many of you believe like me in Konza City? That is a message we bring. And with it, with that belief, we don't want it to be founded on an empty slogan. We want to see you guys taking the necessary action. Konza City Technopolis. Konza Technopolis. The savannah, the African savannah, the silicon savannah in Africa. That was the positioning. The only thing is, I thought, and I want to congratulate members of parliament also, because they have captured the vision. So, Mheshimiwa Kimilu, if you're in ICT, we thank you. We thought you were deliberately underfunding Konza. In fact, there are people who started saying, you know, now this Konza City will be translocated. I am here now to tell you, the next big visitor, I'm just a trailblazer, will be President Uhuru Kenyatta. So he can come and take this into the next level.
Now, rights activists in the North Rift region have said that the National Cohesion and Integration Commission hasn't done enough to ensure there is cohesion among Kenyans. Now, speaking in Eldoret during a sensitization meeting for paralegals working under Center for Human Rights and Mediation, the groups raised concern over recent utterances from some politicians saying they would cause unnecessary divisions. Led by National Coordinator Paralegals Support Network, Mary Ayuro and Dominic Magut, a paralegal from Uasin Gishu, they said it's high time NCIC ensured all politicians uttering such statements are charged and arrested to avoid division as the nation gets closer to elections in 2022.
In your language, the way it was about the work we do.
We need to probably take these utterances serious so that these people are prosecuted. And the moment these people will be prosecuted and taken, to jail, then I think it will deter them from making such utterances. I feel like it's a waste of taxpayers' money because I pay for that commission to actually be in place. So I think it's not biting enough to actually ensure that there's cohesion between Kenyans.
And we thought, after having the constitution, everything is clear, the way leaders are supposed to behave, the way the mwananchi are supposed also to do on their part. So NCIC as a body, it's high time. They should actually put Kenya first before everything else. And especially go as per the mandate that they were given to do, so that this country can be united and we can also head in one direction.
Religious leaders in Uasin Gishu have discouraged politicians from holding public rallies, saying such meetings are exposing Kenyans to contracting COVID-19. Now, speaking during an interfaith meeting on prevalence of teenage pregnancies in Uasin Gishu County, the leaders said it has been hard for them to convince their congregants to continue observing Ministry of Health protocols while politicians continue violating the same at will. The meeting was attended by Uasin Gishu Deputy Governor Damiel Chemno and Uasin Gishu County Commissioner Stephen Kihara.
What I can say for leaders nationally, I want to tell them, to obey these things because it is them who announced to us. The moment you don't obey, you're also telling us at grassroots not to obey. We are saying you better comply, and if it is not complied, you better tell the rest of Kenya what they should do. But don't tell us what to do, what you don't do.
Ningependa tu kusii kabisa kwa unyenyekevu our beloved political leaders and all leaders ya kwamba let us set a good example. Otherwise we shall be sending a wrong message to the people of Kenya and all of the Christians and all the people of Kenya.
We are urging the head of state to declare all political gatherings suspended until the protocols on the same are developed. We should not at any given time encourage the gathering of public, especially to senior politicians.
All counties have not met the 30% threshold of a workforce consisting of communities from outside respective devolved units, according to a report by African Peer Review Mechanism. Now, the review that was conducted between 2016 and 2017, following a directive by President Uhuru Kenyatta, shows that counties are dominated by major local ethnic groups. Now, speaking during the release of the report to stakeholders in Muranga, APRM Director of Governance Peter Kimemia stated that the need to have workers from other ethnic groups being employed in counties is to promote national unity and cohesion. The director further noted that the country still has a lot of work to do in its diversity management, as tribalism appears to have become a bigger problem in the advent of devolution.
Organized aspect under tourism. One big problem we have here is subdivision. I wish to invite Bwana Mohammed. They are very normally advised, even with some difficulties, even if they are able to make a cooperation between the governor, if it can be brought to the service, there is that scheme.
Tulipongezwa sana mambo ya kuwa na huduma centers, lakini kulikuwa na changamoto zingine ziliangaziwa, mambo ya ufisadi, mambo ya usawazishaji wa kijinsia. Kuna watu wanasikia kama wapewi nafasi sawa, na sana ethnic minorities.
West Pokot and Elgeyo Marakwet County leaders have held peace meetings at Chemsto area along the border of the two counties. Now, the meeting comes after 4 people were gunned down from both counties by suspected bandits. Now, the county commissioners from both counties leading the peace meeting affirmed that a shoot-to-kill order will be enforced to perpetrators of banditry attacks.
5 guns have in the past 3 weeks been recovered in the wake of a peace deal signed between West Pokot and Elgeyo Marakwet County leaders. According to West Pokot County Commissioner Apollo Okello, the recoveries follow reports of 4 people who were shot dead by suspected bandits.
Nataka amani, nataka hata upande ile ya Elgeyo Marakwet muweze kujisalimisha kwa sababu haina haja.
On his part, Elgeyo Marakwet County Commissioner Ahmed Omar has insisted that bandits will be nabbed either dead or alive and called on locals to identify bandits who are terrorizing communities in the area. Omar has further said security agencies have identified a number of hiding spots for the bandits, citing Kipchumo area as one of the hardest hit. Attending the meeting, Elgeyo Marakwet Governor Alex Tolgos said the two communities have made strides in keeping peace, and their way of showing their commitment was through the surrendering of illegal guns.
Tunataka our county commissioners. Wewe tukisema hata mbuzi yangu imepotea, mhalifu aweze kuwa identified na ashikwe. Na huwa nasema ukitaka kujaribu, kama wewe ni mtu wa Elgeyo Marakwet, kuja hapo Ituru. Na uweke mtu kopi uweke kama utalala ndani.
The peace meeting was attended by top security officers, members of parliament, members of county assembly, and community members from both counties.
Now, aggrieved residents of Laikipia West constituency expressed anger after a planned peace meeting between the residents and the Rift Valley Regional Commissioner George Natembeya failed to take place after 8 hours of waiting. Now, according to the frustrated residents, the peace meeting was their only avenue to address the many security challenges facing the area. They are now calling on the government to intervene and convene another urgent meeting.
Koja regional commissioner na wageni wengine pamoja na senator na gavana wetu wakuje, na tulikuwa tuna furaha tele sana kwa sababu regional commissioner ni mtu ambaye anasimamia sisi kwa hii serikali kwa njia kubwa, na kwa sababu haikuwezekana, hakuweza kufika, mimi nitasema tu tuamini kwamba siku ya leo wameshinda Laikipia.
Maneno ya Laikipia North imekuja juzi. Pande ya Magwache, pande ya Kamwenje, Laikipia West tumekuwa tukipigana ama tukipigwa, kuibiwa na kuuawa miaka kama 5, miaka 10 ambayo imeisha. Sasa ninashindwa, kwani kuna kabila kubwa kuliko zingine jameni?
Tunauliza ni nini serikali haina Kenya hii? Mashina yote iko. Kwa hivyo na regional commissioner Mr. Natembeya, next week kama unakuja mkuja na Matiang'i munaandamana na mtupatie siku ya watu wa Laikipia. Mjue ile shida tuko naye.
Thank you for staying with us here on TV47 on Newsfeed. Let's take a short breather. We'll be back with more in just a moment. President Uhuru Kenyatta has reopened the Nyayo National Stadium more than 3 years since it was closed for renovations. Now the iconic stadium is set to host the Nairobi Meet of the World Athletics Continental Tour dubbed Kip Keino Classic, which is set for October 3rd. Now let's listen into what the head of state had to say. I beg your pardon, our reporter is live there, and let's listen to what's going on. If you can hear me, Dennis, what's currently going on at Nyayo Stadium?
Well, thank you very much, Mumbi. Right now, we are at the Nyayo National Stadium, where earlier today, President Uhuru Kenyatta launched the newly reconstructed stadium, that is the Nyayo National Stadium. Now, just to give you a brief history of the Nyayo Stadium, is that it was constructed in the year 1983, and it is a stadium that is not new to hosting international events. In the year 1987, the Nyayo National Stadium hosted the All-African Games, and shortly afterward, in the year 2010, it also hosted the African Athletics Championship. Now, this marks, the renovation of the stadium is a project that started about 3 years ago in the third quarter of the year 2017. Now, it is a major milestone, within the sports fraternity in the country. Because the project or the launch of the stadium comes only a few days before the beginning of another international event that is known as the Continental Tour, which has also been named as the Kip Keino Classic. But just to give us more details about the launch of the Nyayo National Stadium is FKF President Mr. Nick Mwendwa, who joins me right now. So, Mr. Mwendwa, thank you very much for joining TV47. Just briefly give us, a detailed account of what this means for Kenya, the renovation of this stadium.
For us in football, we are happy because stadium has been a problem for us. For example, in the Premier League, we have 7 matches every weekend. With this stadium, Kasarani and Machakos, we can easily host 6 or 5 matches in that weekend. So this is big because a couple of teams, I think 3 or 4 teams, use this as their home stadium. So it's big news for them, and they want to be back. For the national team, we're going to play here on 10th or 13th of October against Zambia. When we don't have a lot of fans, a smaller pitch with fewer capacity is much better. So for us in football, I think we are the heaviest users of this stadium. So I am personally very happy about it. We want now to see football back. The president has given a directive to the ministry to fast track moving other sports back. And so we want the ministry to open up for football to return, because we want in the beginning of November to start the new season so that the boys can back play.
It has been a long time coming, 3 years in the making until the renovations were completed. What does this mean for the state of governance in the country? Because we have a lot of other facilities that need to be, to be upgraded and finished within a stipulated time. What would be your take on that situation?
The president has named many other stadiums that he has given direct to be completed by December. For us, the more stadium we have, the more opportunity we have to develop our kids. Because football is about the kids. If we develop the kids, we have a large pool of talent. We have a fantastic league. They come into it. We make the national team better. So for us, we want those stadiums up and running. We want to host the Women Cup of Nations for 21 or 22, because through the Cup of Nations, if we are third, then we head to the World Cup, New Zealand and Australia for women. So it's important and big for us to have the stadium back, because then we can host events that are big. We want to host the U20, Sekafa U20, in November, if the country is opened up for us to play. So that shows you what you can do when you have good stadium and you have everywhere. So for us, we want to support the president. We want to say that we need this to move faster than they moved before. 3 years was a long time. And for me, having this stadium up is a big thing for me, because we lost Chan because of not having this stadium up. So now, at least having them back means I can go and fight for hosting event.
Well, it's the mother stadium of so many other sporting facilities within the country, hosting a number of events, not only football. Well, would you say, or would you rather, this is, a very huge milestone for the country and as well as other, facilities that are yet to come up within the country?
This is big, but I tell you, we don't need one of this or two of this. We need 47 of this. 47 of this. If we can do half of 47, then as a sporting nation, as a football country, as a sport number one in the country, I can tell you we're heading the World Cup. Because then we develop our talent and our boys. And I told you, football is about the young kids. You develop them early in fantastic facilities like this. They get used to it. When they grow, it's normal for them. I think we just need to continue doing it. And I'm happy today we have this milestone.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Nick Mwendwa. Well, that was the FKF president, Mr. Nick Mwendwa, of course, telling us the importance of, reconstructing the Nyayo National Stadium. Well, the launch is already complete. The president has already left the location. But, as things get to progress, we shall get to update you in the subsequent bulletins. Now, back to you, Mumbi.
Thank you so much, Dennis Otieno, bringing us to speed on the renovation on Nyayo National Stadium. Thank you once again, Dennis. Let's now cross over to Serena Hotel here in Nairobi, where a section of Jubilee MPs are holding a press conference pertaining to the Huduma number. Let's listen to that.
Is done from 15th of October when the rollout begins. Let the Kenyans know who these companies are. Finally, we would like to ask, where is the data for the first Huduma number registration? There's a big question here because the data as was collected and stored in the current format is indeed a national security threat. We understand that this is very sensitive data of individuals that is being collected. And it is not your usual collection of data. We are talking about biodata. How it is stored becomes an issue of national security concern because anyone who would hack into this data and be able to access it can use it for any malicious use. Now from this, we are asking and demanding the following. Mheshimiwa, kindly take it on from here.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. So I'm continuing from there. From the foregoing, we demand the following. The immediate publication of the joint agreement signed between Kenya and Mahabara High Tech International, the immediate opening up of the secret Paso Center site to all members of Parliament, the appointees and the data experts for scrutiny. We understand election data is being illegally processed and reorganized here. It should not be lost on Kenyans that during the infamous Lamada meetings, other than the intention to assassinate the deputy president, Saitoti-style attendees were informed that Huduma number would be used to rig the referendum results for the deep state and the system. The immediate publication of the data from the first registration process, we also demand and expressly caution the NIS not to participate in paying out an illegality. Ministry of Interior and ICT should also ensure that does not happen. We would also like to remind all the state officers that it does not matter how long it takes. Those who participate in the illegal payment will be personally charged by the Kenya people for ignoring their warning. We remind all state agents involved of the provisions of the Data Protection Act 2019, Section 26. A data subject has a right to be informed of the use to which their personal data is to be put. To access their personal data is custody of data control, data processor. To object to the processing of all or part of their personal data. So we urge all Kenyans to ignore any calls by those advancing Huduma registration until we get answers to the issues we are raising. Thank you.
Tasema kidogo kwa Kiswahili na pia mbunge mwingine kama Kimani Ichung'wah ataongezea angalau Kiswahili yake.
That is a section of Jubilee members of parliament or MPs rather questioning the Huduma number registration and asking Kenyans to ignore calls for any advancements of their registration. Thank you so much for staying with us. We'll be bringing you up to speed on that report. Our reporter Elizabeth Mutuku is at that function or press briefing. She'll be giving us more details on that in our subsequent bulletins. Thank you so much for staying with us, and also just reminding you that you can also talk to us on our social media platforms on Facebook, TV47 Kenya, as well as on Twitter at TV47KE, and also to remind you that we are officially on DSTV channel 268, and that is where we will be bringing a close to our newsfeed bulletin. Thank you so much for being with us. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. My name is Mombi Chege.